Welcome back, guys, to this month's Ultimate Comprehensive Guide for TOA Hard Bosses. So this month was a little different. As you guys know, TOA decided to put TOA Reset on the same time as Arena Rush Hour, so I was a little delayed on my rush for TOA because I spent the first hour doing, rush hour and stuff. So I still was able to make top 100 for TOA Rush, and I was also able to make TOA Hard Mode with top 100 as well. I think I got like 29th place or something, even though I had that bit of delay, but I was able to make this video for you guys. What you're seeing right now is a comprehensive guide for TOA hard bosses, and it's not going to be like a how to build a team. I already made a video on how to build TOA hard teams, and that's more of a generic kind of thing. What this is going to do is it's going to show you guys what the boss mechanics are for the floor, so that if you guys do run into the floors and you're wondering how to beat them, what the general idea is in beating them. So the first 30 floors, the bosses, as you can see, I didn't even take a healer. Even on stage 40, you don't need a healer. I'm just nuking them really hard. So there's no real mechanics. The only thing that I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I'm targeting the boss so that all those hard-hitting nukes are going straight for the boss. Other than that, I have everything sped up. I know in the last video I told you guys to, if you guys want to see it in slow-mo, just go ahead and slow the video down. And that was kind of bad because, people said I sounded really stoned and stuff. So if you guys want to do it, just put me on mute if you're going to slow it down, because you don't want to hear me, all stoned and stuff. But that's pretty much it. I'll be walking you guys through the floors. So this is the first floor where you actually need to do some actual thinking as far as the floor goes and the boss. So I took my comp. You guys have seen this comp before in the last month's TOA, and this is going to be the Lilith edition for those of you guys who don't know. I did last month on whatever that other guy's name was, the guy. And so I'm just using this team. I don't really have a big healer like a Chiwu or Ariel or anything like that. I'm just using Basalt. I know a ton of you guys are going to ask me the same question. I know it's coming already. It's going to be, I don't have Basalt, how do I replace Basalt? Or I don't have Verd, how do I replace Verd? One of those things that you need for TOA is going to be the Provoke, and you need to have that Provoke. I mean, you can get away with not having it, but you got to get really lucky. And it makes it a lot harder. So having a Provoke in your toolkit, whether it's Amin, Talk, Jubel, whoever, even if it's a Ritesh, if you have that Provoke, it's going to help you a lot, because the boss has crazy second and third skills, and you want them to auto attack on your Provoker, who's generally tanky, right? And Verd acts as, kind of a attack bar booster, and he puts more DPS and he lets you get more effective turns off. And of course, the standard in most comps that you're going to see is Beretta. He, whatever it is, brings the dots that are going to help you kill the side mobs. Okay, so the first mechanic, some of you guys have fought it before in TOA normal, but you guys may not have fought it in the way that you're going to have to fight it in TOA hard, which is you have to dot down the Hwadams, and you're going to have to kill that Hwadam through dots. Generally, most people that are doing TOA normal will just go straight for the Veromos and kill them outright with an AoE. In this case, you're going to have to kind of take them down slowly. So generally what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep the Veromos provoked, because if he stuns you, your whole team is screwed. And what you want to do is, the way you're going to kill Hwadam is, because there's two of them, each Hwadam will keep the other alive if you kill it with a normal attack. So what you want to do is you want to make them die through dots. So I just load up the dots on one of them, and when I get really close to killing them, I just back off a little bit, and then I let the dots resolve. And once the dots resolve, then it'll take care of them, like as you've seen right there on the right. In the meantime, your goal is to keep the attack bar down on the rest of the enemy team with either Basalt's third skill or Beretta's second skill, the Turbulence. And what that's going to do is it's going to prolong the provoke, which means that Veromos is going to stay provoked longer. It also means that the other enemy's DPS, like Perna, isn't going to heal as often and not going to do as much damage. And the second Hwadam, you don't need to kill with dots. It does help. Pretty much any monster in TOA dies faster with dots aside from the boss. But you do want to, you know, kill them relatively fast. So after that, you're going to take care of the Pernas. Like I said, once you kill that first Hwadam, the second one will go down through regular attacks. And what I'm doing here is I'm loading up the Pernas with dots, which is going to enable me to kill them faster, like I said. And the reason I'm taking care of the Pernas first instead of going for the Veromos is that the Pernas have that passive, and because they heal each turn and you're going to be putting on some type of debuff on Veromos, he's just going to keep healing. So you actually do need to take care of these Pernas if you want to be able to kill this effectively. It just makes your job easier, and once you kill those Pernas, you can go ahead and auto. Okay, and as you can see, my Verd, I didn't switch him at this point. I still left him as the way I have him for my speed Dragon's B10 team, which happens to be that attack on slot 6, so he has like 2000 HP or something like that. It's something really small, so that's why you've seen him get killed earlier, but I had that Brian for backup. You'll see later on as I progress to floor 100, I think that's the only time where I switched his runes. Then you'll see that I went for a more tanky approach because I need him and I'm not going to be bringing a reviver. But as far as this floor goes, dots through Veromos and Beretta are going to be your best friends. Just keep loading up those Pernas with dots, and you know, it's a long process. As soon as we take care of them, don't worry, as soon as we auto, I'll just speed it up a little bit. Right now we're going at 2 times speed, and as soon as all the bosses, whenever I auto them all the way through, I'll just times 4 speed so that you guys don't get bored. Okay, so pretty much this team works relatively well. Sometimes I'll switch out Brian for Spectra on some stages. My Spectra as well, some of the changes you might have seen, I told you guys in my rune showcase video that my Spectra is no longer on speed HP. He's on speed speed crit rate accuracy because I use him for Dragon's B10 now. And as long as you don't get touched, you're completely fine, which is what happened. And that's the goal of the comp anyways. If your comp gets touched, then your comp obviously isn't working. You want your Spectra to always be clear of getting hit. So as long as you keep your team, you know, doing what it's supposed to do, then having no HP on Spectra on 2, 4, or 6 is completely fine. But getting back to this boss, as you can see, because I have Provoke on my first skill and I have tons of attack manipulating effects such as Verd, Basalt, and Beretta, I'm able to constantly just auto. And that means that, you know, I don't have to spend 20 minutes attacking or whatever. So anyways, moving on to floor 60, we're now at the Artemil stage, and I just wanted to put it out there that we are extremely lucky that Artemil is on floor 60. The first time that I cleared TOA hard, I think he was on floor 80 or 90, which is just brutal. So what I wanted to show you guys is this comp, and this is a comp that I'm not too sure if I can't remember if in the older videos, you know, I actually showcased this, but this is the kind of like one of those unmovable or dot comps that I'm using, aside from the fact that I don't have Thrain in here. And a lot of you guys are going to tell me again, I don't have Rad, I don't have, you know, Chasoon or something. But if you have, the whole point of it is to bring about maybe 1 healer and then 2 AoE disruptors with Despair, and then have Mav in there. So what you're seeing is I'm getting disrupts through Beretta on Despair, Verad on Despair and Brian on Despair, and then I'm able to constantly use these AoE type effects on these mobs at a relatively low cooldown because I have Mav. And also my heals are about, you know, twice as much on, like, at the ready to use. So I just wanted to point that out there. Mav is a wonderful unit to have for TOA. I know some people asked me if they should build a Mav on the last one. That's what's leading me to think I didn't use Mav on my boss floor video. And for this floor, I usually take, I think, well, if it's on the later stages, I take this comp. But if it's on the earlier stages, such as like this floor, I'll usually take Beretta. I'll use the team that I used on the last floor, which is Beretta, Veromos, Verd, Spectra, and Basalt. But I just wanted to kind of show this to you guys in case in the future it does come up. This is an excellent comp. This is the comp that I first used to beat floor 80 when Emil was on floor 80. So it does take a little while because of the fact that you don't have any true DPS. All you're doing is yawning. Excuse me, I'm yawning because I'm tired. And pretty much you're just letting the dots resolve and CCing so that your team doesn't get hurt. The main thing is to protect your Brian and your Mav, because if they get one shot, then you're kind of screwed. Maybe Brian can revive a Mav, but once Brian goes, you could be in a bad position. And that just goes for using this comp, not this floor in specific. But I do use a similar comp to this when I'm accelerating from floors 80 and above, just on the regular floors. I use with like Thrain and stuff. I think I showed it to you guys in the last video with the how to build a TOA comp. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. God, I'm so tired. But yeah, so this is what you want to do for this boss. The main objective, and this goes for whatever floor he's on, is to make sure that those Yetis don't get a buff. If those Yetis buff, the damage on all these units, they increase exponentially. So you don't want to let them have that you know, that buff, that attack, and whatever else buff it is. It's something crazy. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to keep them stunned or provoked. The nice thing about Mav is that he has that provoke where he doesn't actually touch a unit, so you're not going to get revenged by the other units. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that the monkeys will revenge you if you hit someone else. So you want to make sure that you hit the monkeys. If you hit the monkeys, then, you know, they won't. The monkey that you hit won't revenge you back because his passive only works for his allies. So what you do is you stun one of the monkeys, and then you go for the one that's awake. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna let the AoE dots take care of the Yetis on the side. But if you're using the dots from the Yetis on the side, if you stun both of the monkeys at the same time, or you freeze them or whatever, if you disable them, that's your go ticket. That's the time that you can go on the monkeys, because the only one that's gonna revenge you is Emil. Now, my comp doesn't have an armor breaker. I would recommend, if you have, like, say, a Bella as your healer or something, to armor break the Emil, since his damage is defense based, which means that if the Emil is defense broken, it's almost like putting an attack break on him. Other than that, you're gonna want to continuously apply Brian's, you know, attack break on them in case they do buff. It kind of mitigates the damage that they're gaining from the buff. But again, your main objective is to CC all the units with the priority of not letting those Yetis get a buff, and then moving directly on the Yetis when the monkeys are both stunned. If they're not both stunned, then you just go for one monkey and let the dots carry over from Beretta. The scary thing is if you have a whole bunch of AoEs, then the monkeys might revenge you. So you just want to make sure that you take care of those, you know, you take care of the monkeys first, and then you can go for everyone else. Oh man, I apologize for the yawning. But as you can see, we have the the Yeti on the right stunned. We have enough dots to take care of the Yeti already. They're both gonna die, so we don't really have to focus on that last one. He already has a heal block. So from here, all I have to do is auto, and we're gonna finish off the Art Emil. One thing to note is you might want to have some accuracy on your Brienne, because the critical thing here is you don't want to let the Art Emil heal up. If the Art Emil heals, it's a huge heal, and you feel like it's undoing whatever work that you did to get that far in the first place. So sometimes if I see that, you know, the heal block or the provoke isn't on there, I'll step in and I'll go ahead and manually use first skill on Brienne, or I'll manually provoke the Art Emil. So a couple of times I had some close calls where you see I had to stop it just to make sure that he has the armor break, the heal block on there, or I reset the attack bar, something like that. But you do want to make sure, if you see on the upper right hand corner where the cooldown is for the plus, where that heal is, if it's on full, if it's off cooldown, that means it's time to make sure that there's a heal block on there or a provoke. As you can see, I have a heal block on there, and I'm getting lazy here. I forget to check up on it, and I missed the provoke and the heal block right here, and he heals up, and that's a fat heal. That's like, it looks like 30% or something, which is, you know, if I wasn't speeding this up 4 times, that would be maybe a couple of minutes of me autoing it. So just make sure you're careful of that. You don't want to end up getting frustrated. And for those of you guys who have like older iPhone devices, autoing for that long could lead you to a crash. So that's why I say that even after the battle has finished and you killed all the Yetis and you feel accomplished and you think you got it, there's still a chance that, you know, you can't kill Art Emil straight up. You have to be very diligent about your work on him. So that's about it for Art Emil. And yeah, it would probably go a lot faster if I had an armor break. I should have used Bella instead of Chiwu, but that's fine. Okay, so moving on, we have Jamire with the Zyros and the Krakas, I believe. So we went ahead and we used that same comp that we used against the Veromos, except we didn't need Brienne here. We don't need the heal block or anything, so I decided to go with more CC, more slowing, and more attack bar manipulation with Spectra. So this is what we used, and it does take a little while because your main source of damage is going to be dots from Veromos and Beretta, and just waiting for them to resolve. And sometimes you fight yourself doing that because you have so many attack bar resetting effects with Basalt and Spectra and Beretta. But in the long run, it's really safe because you make sure that they don't get a turn off you, and the only time that you let those dots resolve is if you're sure that your comp can, you know, handle whatever is going on. Alright, so this is when, right about the time that the boss floors take, or the mob floors start taking just as long as the bosses because of these slow teams. I probably should have sped this up, but too late. Okay, and as you can see, I stopped autoing right here, and the reason I do that is I try to make sure that my spells are off cooldown before I fight the big boss. I don't generally do it against the teams that are like normal floors, but if it's against a boss, I make sure that I come into the boss fight with all my cooldowns fresh, so that I can put all my dots on there, I can put my slow on there, and I can stun. So that's what we do, and then all you do is use your first skills. So I apply the slow. My main objective is to CC everyone, but the Zyros, both of the Zyros are going to be the ones that can, you know, cause the most problems to my comp because of that skill reset. So as with all bosses, when I have Basalt, I make sure that I have my provoke on the boss so that he can't use those broken skills like resetting all the cooldowns with Jamire, and that, you know, gives me more safety in the long run. So again, we're just killing everyone with dots. Anytime that a monster has a chance to move, when he's not stunned, we go for that monster. So we move on to the left Zyros, and then we take them to about the point where we're ready to let those dots resolve and have it die. We don't ever want to let the Zyros move and get a turn, because if they do, the skill reset is just too powerful. And especially with my Verd and my Spectra being so squishy, as you can see right there, my Spectra almost died. So the provoke is saving me, otherwise they would have went for Spectra instead. Now I focus on the Kraka, I stun her, but now I want to put enough dots to kill her, because the Zyros on the right looks like it's just about dead. We don't need to do too much damage. And now we need to focus on this Kraka, because the Kraka could kill us, but of course her skill priority is to revive a unit if it's dead. So it looks like we have most of the units CC'd. We just need to continuously apply some of these debuffs. And I think right here I was talking to someone, that's why I stopped playing for like a good couple of seconds or whatever it was. So again, apply the dots, and if you look across the board, they're all ready to resolve. So I can just pretty much auto the boss. I can click the boss, and with my provoke and everything else going on, I'm in no real danger from anything else, as long as I don't get resisted. And in the case that I do get resisted from the provoke or whatever it is, then I just step in and I'll use provoke on skill 1, or I'll reset with turbulence from Beretta. So yeah, as you can see, it does take a little while. So if you're not prepared to do a boss fight, I'd recommend not to just take a boss fight on a whim thinking that it's going to be a fast fight, even if you have the right comp for it, because it still takes a lot of time, and this is going at 4 times speed. Alright, so next up we have the Chiwu floor, I believe, and this floor is the one with the Sylphids and Megan. So we use the same team that we did the last time. Again, this is one of the good teams to have in your toolkit. If you don't have this team, then you just gotta play around with things that you can bring instead. Verd can sometimes be replaced with Bernard, and Spectra can be replaced with Briand or some other CC unit. Now rewatching this video, I'm amazed that I did this in 24 hours, because I'm just watching the whole thing, and these are only the boss floors. It's kind of tiring, but I wanted to make sure that I get this video out to you guys ASAP at the beginning of the month, so that at whatever point you guys decide to make your climb in TOA hard, that you're able to refer to this guide, and you can look at the boss mechanics and what I use to beat it, and maybe switch out whatever you guys need to. So let's see. Other than that, it's not like the rotation. The big changes come from mostly floor 100, where there's some big strategy talk. But as far as most of the boss floors, this comp that you're seeing right here works for it solely because of the amount of CC and the provoke that you get from Basalt. Before I had Basalt, I was using... what was I using? I think I wasn't even using a provoke at one point. I was using, and I wasn't using Verd, I was using Beretta, Veromos, Bella, Spectra, and Briand. And that comp works pretty good, but this comp right here works like butter because you're getting so much attack bar manipulation where you're gaining so many turns and your opponent is losing so many, and it just makes it so that you don't even need a reviver. The whole reason that you bring Briand is just nullified because they never get a chance to really hit you, and if they do, then you're probably doing something wrong. If you guys want to check out the stats for any of these units, I know people are going to say, what's the stats on your Veromos, or what's the stats on your Spectra, etc. I went ahead and I made a February rune and monster showcase tutorial. It's a couple of videos back. If you guys want to check that out, go ahead. For the most part, the runes are going to be the same. I haven't touched most of my TOA units, and only on floor 100 I made adjustments to units like Hua and Verd. But other than that, if you guys need a reference, that's what I use. If you guys want to check them out on Global, if you guys are on Global and you guys want to check out my TOA monsters, just go ahead and look for me on the leaderboards. I'm usually somewhere in the top 30 players. Most of the time I'm top 10. Just go ahead and look me up, and I'm usually over there. You can find the runes and the monsters on them. So a good thing that I did notice was I didn't even crash one single time in both my TOA normal and my TOA hard runs. I didn't have a single crash, and that was pretty much my biggest enemy in TOA hard, was not knowing if I put in 20 to 30 minutes on a floor fighting the boss, and once I beat everything and I'm just autoing the boss, am I gonna fail or am I gonna crash? And I never really had a fear of failing because my team already has the boss down. It's more the fact that I'm afraid that my game's gonna crash, and I didn't have that after I upgraded. So okay, so for this boss Chiwu, what you're gonna do is you just want to make sure you keep the Sylphids and the Megans stunned, CC'd, whatever, while you keep Chiwu provoked. He does have a big nuke, and you want to make sure that he doesn't get a chance to use that. So you're gonna use Basalt to continuously provoke him while you dot down the rest of the units. Your priority is gonna be the Sylphids because of the anti-crit buff, the shield, and also because of the little mini heal. Other than that, they don't have a method of healing. If you keep Chiwu provoked and everything, you don't really need to worry about, you know, big damage coming through. So what I do is I focus on the Sylphids. I find one Sylphid that I want to beat, I take that one out, I go for the next Sylphid, take him out, take her out, whatever. And then at that point, it's kind of like your own call if you want to move forward and just start autoing the boss, or because you have some method of buff removal, since he's going to have an attack and defense buff, or if you want to CC the Megans. So again, it's just a judgment call. Meanwhile, you're going to want to use Beretta to knock back the attack bar down. My general guideline for knocking back the attack bar with a skill like Turbulence is going to be as soon as that attack bar reaches halfway, and then I feel it's worthy. Anything below that's kind of just not worth it. You want to make sure that you're getting the best bang out of your buck. The best time that you could possibly use it is when the attack bar is completely filled up, but then you're taking a risk that if that skill gets resisted, you may or may not be able to, you know, he might get a turn before you get a chance, and if you don't have a provoke up, then it might be a big spell. So on the left we have that one Megan completely just CC'd out of her mind, and those dots look like they're ready to resolve. So I work on the Chiwu a little bit, and anytime I have a dotting skill I put it on the Megan, but for the most part, since I have 3 fire units, it's just best for me to target the Chiwu. But Veromos has the dots on skill 1, so when his turn comes up, I'll go ahead and apply it to him, since his dots don't work on the boss itself. And once I see that Megan's in kill range from dots, I just go ahead and auto on Chiwu. And just like the other floors, like Veromos and the other ones, once you auto it, you're pretty clear to go, just because of the fact that you have provoke and attack bar manipulation. So fairly easy compared to some of the other floors. We're actually really lucky again that we have this rotation set up in the way it is, where the easier floors are higher and the harder floors are lower. So moving on to floor 90, we have the light hell lady. I think her name is Asima, whatever it is, Light Beth. And we have to get through this floor. We use our standard comp again, which is actually it's really nice now that I think about it, because when I make my comps, I don't have them designated for each floor. I just kind of take whatever I feel might work. But for the most part, I'm noticing after rewatching that I do use this comp a lot because it works so well. So if you do have these monsters and you're looking to do TOA hard, this team does work really, really well. And I can't say that I have the best runes on Beretta. He or she, whatever it is, doesn't have my best runes at all. I had him the same way that I did when I started farming Giants B10 when I first started playing. That was like the first or second month. So he doesn't have very good runes. And my Verd is an attack Verd, so his HP is not high at all. My Spectra is a Dragon's Spectra, so the HP isn't high on there either. Basalt has leftover runes, just Violent Guard and like triple defense, just nothing special. My Veromos is one of my better runed units, but other than that, if you don't have, very well runed units, as long as you have these units and you kind of know how they work and everything, and you have a decent amount of accuracy on the units that need to provoke or stun or whatever, then you should be fine. So I'm really regretting not speeding this up because it's taking a really long time to auto or to do these floors. I'm at the point right now where I can't auto anymore these floors because simply I don't have enough heals. The only heal that I really have is Basalt, which is based on his HP, and I have triple defense on there, so he has really low HP, so his heal doesn't heal for much. His defense buff is nice, but it's just not enough for me to heal, so I gotta make sure that I don't get touched and my monsters don't derp. That's a great thing too about Basalt on Violent, is that he is able to get sometimes provoke and heal off in the same turn. So for this floor, again, like the last TOA, I honestly don't even know what the Zerbrota does or what she does. I have no idea what they do. I just know that I don't want them to get a turn, and I know what Beretta does. So just like every other boss floor that we've been covering, just make sure you CC the mobs on the side while you keep the main boss provoked. And because of the fact that I don't know what the Zerbrotas do, I make sure that I take care of them, because I know the dots I can kind of remove with Veromos and everything, and those Berettas, you gotta remember when you're fighting these monsters, they don't have violent runes and they don't have despair runes, so it's not like I often find myself like when I'm fighting them, like I'm scared. I think on floor 93 or 94, there's the floor with the 3 Theos, and like I'm afraid after it does the triple crush that I'm gonna get violent proc. But you gotta remember these monsters don't have runes, so that Beretta, when it does put dots on you, it's not gonna stun you. And same with the Veromos on floor 100. I'm always afraid that he's gonna stun and then put some dots on me, but he doesn't do anything. So again, just dots, and once you apply the dots, just let them resolve. You don't want to keep applying attack bar debuffs on the boss or on the units if they have dots that are waiting to resolve. And now that I see the boss or the other units are in kill range, I can just auto, which, yeah. Okay, so that's about it for floor 90. And next up, floor 100. I know this is the one that you guys have all requested, and I wasn't able to cover last month because we're on the Atheros rotation. And this is going to be Lilith, the one that people generally find harder. And for me personally, I find that this floor is actually the easier one. I've always been able to clear this relatively easy, and I think the reason for that is that I have Sierra. So for those of you guys who have Sierra and you guys are watching this, you guys are in luck because she makes this floor super easy. But I'm not here to show you guys how to make this comp with Sierra. I'm just here to talk to you guys about the mechanics so that you guys understand how this floor works. The reason I bring Sierra is because she has the bomb that's going to allow me to pop it, and when I pop it, I get the stun off immediately. And what you're going to want to do, I'm not going to really talk about these mob floors, you guys can figure it out yourselves. The main units you're going to need here are going to be Hua and Veromos, and either an attack bar booster like Verd or Bernard, and then some kind of healer like either Chisun or Bella. I like Chisun here because she has 2 heals in 1, and because she also gives an attack buff on my bombs. But for the most part, you don't need to have Sierra or anything. You can use Beretta instead, but you do want some attack bar boosting, and you want Hua for attack bar manipulation. You definitely want stuns. Okay, so here's going to be the breakdown of floor 100. So the first thing you need to know is that the boss has 3 different incarnations, right? The red one revenges, the green one it heals back whenever it attacks, and the blue one has some sort of anti-crit mechanism in there. And when it splits, the boss is going to be holding one, and then you're going to be, or it's going to have 2 of the other ones on the outside. So if you don't see blue on there, that means the boss has the blue skills, which is the anti-crit. If you see blue and red out there, that means it has the green one, which means that she's going to heal every time she attacks you. And if you see blue and green on the outside, but you don't see red, that means the boss is red, and that the boss will revenge if you attack her. So your main priority here is going to put the slow and the glancing on the boss so that she doesn't get enough turns. As you can see, there's the turn counter on the top over there, which tells you how many turns it's going to be till she reabsorbs the incarnations. When you want, the goal of the whole battle is to make sure that you kill the images before she has a chance to reabsorb them. And if you do that before the turn counter comes, when her turn counter reduces to 0, she's going to get stunned. So what that means is you want to kill them in the most efficient way as possible. But the thing is, every time you kill that, you hit the green one, it has some sort of it steals your attack bar, and then the red one, it revenges you. So every time that it's stunned, the images don't work correctly, the passives don't work, so you're gonna want to keep them stunned, and that's where the bombs come into play. So what I do is I apply a bomb and I pop it on one of the images, and that's going to keep it stunned. And once it's stunned, I go ahead and I put a whole bunch of dots, either using Veromos' first skill, Sierra's third skill or second skill when she puts the bomb on, and Hua where she has a second skill that has 2 dots. So like I said, once you have the image stunned, you can just, once they're gone, you can auto, and once you auto it, it's gonna go until she's ready to split again. And when she splits, that's when you can apply, that's when you can hit her for free and she's stunned. So there she is, she splits again, and I'm gonna slow down again for you guys at 2 times speed so you can see it. So I stun the green one, and that's the one that I'm going for at this moment in time. I don't hit any of the images that aren't stunned because I want to make sure that they don't get their effects off, and it works when they're not stunned, or it works when they're not stunned. So when they're stunned, they can't do anything. So I have 2 bombs on that green one, and then it's kind of a decision right now, do I want to go for the blue one? And I will wait until the blue one is stunned before I finish it off. At some points, if you're about like a quarter or maybe 10% of the boss left, you can just auto her for the rest of the way. If she has, say, the green one in her, and that's not the case, she has the revenge on her, so I don't want to do that. I want to finish these guys off first. And it looks like the blue one is stunned and in kill range, so I can go ahead and auto again. And I'm manualing here mainly because of the fact that she has the red image in her. If she has the red image in her, it means that she's going to counterattack, and as you guys know, most of my units are on violent, so if my unit's violent proc once or twice with the wrong skill, she's going to revenge and then, you know, kill off my units. But other than that, I'm pretty much done with the boss. So again, kill the units, kill the clones, and then auto her if she doesn't have the red in her. If she has the red one in her, just play it safe and manual it. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that was floor 100. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope it helped you guys in some way. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And we'll go ahead and open up that legendary scroll for you guys. I won't spoil it for you. And yeah, it's a Hua, another Hua. So again, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.